Episode 2 of the famous people who passed away in 1752. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Johan Kristoff Peppers. He was born in 1667 and he died in July 1752. His age was 85 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German-born composer who spent most of his working life in England. He became a prominent figure in English music, best known for his work on the Beggar's Opera. He studied music theory under Martin Klingenberg, cantor of Marienkirche in Berlin. At the age of 14, he was appointed to the Prussian court, where he gave music lessons to the future Frederick William I of Prussia. He resigned this position in 1698 after witnessing the execution of an officer without trial. He then first went to Amsterdam, and in 1704 he settled in England. Peter Warren. He was born in March 1703 and he died in July 1752. His age was 48 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was fever. He was an Irish-born British admiral who played a pivotal role in naval campaigns, particularly the victory at Louisburg during King George's War. He was a Royal Navy officer and politician who sat in British House of Commons representing the constituency of Westminster from 1747 to 1752. Warren is best known for his career in British Navy, which he served in for 36 years, and participated in numerous naval engagements, including most notably the capture of the French fortress of Louisburg in 1745. William Wiston. He was born in December 1667 and he died in August 1752. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English theologian, historian, natural philosopher, and mathematician, a leading figure in popularization of the ideas of Isaac Newton. He is now probably best known for helping to instigate the Longitude Act in 1714 and his important translations of the Antiquities of the Jews and other works by Josephus. He was a prominent exponent of Arianism and wrote a theory of the earth. He was an English theologian, mathematician, and author, best remembered for promoting Arianism and his translation of Josephus' works. Johan Albrecht Bengal. He was born in June 1687 and he died in November 1752. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German Lutheran theologian and biblical scholar who introduced critical methodologies in the theology and authored influential biblical commentaries. His reputation as a biblical scholar and critic rests chiefly on his edition of the Greek New Testament 1734, his exegetical annotations on the same, which have passed through many editions in Latin, German, and English, and are still highly valued by expositors of the New Testament. His investigations had led him to see that a certain affinity or resemblance existed among many of the authorities for Greek text manuscripts, versions, and ecclesiastical writers. Carl Andreas Jer. He was born in 1670 and he died in November 1752. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Dutch historian and philologist, renowned for his works on Roman antiquities and for advancing the study of Latin. In 1700, he was appointed teacher of history and eloquence at the Herborn Gymnasium. In 1704, vice principal of the school at the Hague, and in 1716 he succeeded to the professorship formerly held by Peter Berman at Utrecht. After 18 years tenure, he resigned his post and lived in retirement at Eigelstein and Vienna. His health finally broke down under excessive study and he died almost blind at the house of a relative in Meiderick near Duisburg. Ralph Erskine, he was born in March 1685 and he died in November 1752. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish poet and theologian, influential in the Secession Church movement, known for his passionate preaching and devotion poetry. He was chaplain and tutor to the Black Colonel John Erskine from 1705 to 1709. After studying at the University of Edinburgh, Ralph was ordained assistant minister at Dunfermline in 1711. He ratified the protests which his brother laid on the table of the assembly after being rebuked for his synod sermon, but he did not formally withdraw from the establishment till 1737. His works consist of sermons, poetical phrases, and gospel sonnets. William Digby, 5th Baron Digby. He was born in February 1661 and he died in November 1752. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an Irish and English peer, active in political affairs, and known for his involvement in the governance of Ireland. During his brief life, in 1686, he succeeded his elder brother as 5th Baron Digby. He was an Irish peerage and did not entitle him to a seat in the English House of Lords. He was instead elected to the House of Commons for Warwick in 1689, a constituency he continued to represent until 1698. In September 1698, he inherited the estate of Sherborne Castle from his third cousin, once removed, John Digby, 3rd Earl of Bristol. Henri Guillaume Hamala. He was born in December 1685 and he died in December 1752. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Belgian composer and organist, recognized for his contributions to the development of Baroque sacred music in the Low Countries. He was a valued musician, musical director, and composer. He is first of the Hamel family of musicians who were preeminent in the 18th century Liege, from whom we have knowledge. He spent his whole life in the Prince-Bishopric of Liege, an ecclesiastical principality of the Holy Roman Empire. All sources say that he had a reputation for honesty and probity. He was received by good society in Liege. Adolphus Frederick III, Duke of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. He was born in May 1686 and he died in December 1752. His age was 66 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Duke of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, remembered for his administrative reforms and patronage of the arts and culture. In his realm, he founded the town of Neustrelitz as the capital of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, to replace the old capital which had burned down. He succeeded his father as Duke of Mecklenburg-Strelitz on 12 May 1708. In 1712, the ducal family's castle and the town of Strelitz burned down. Because of this, he and his family were forced to live in their hunting lodges. Giuseppe Migoni. He was born in June 1682 and he died in August 1752. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an Italian Rococo painter known for his elegant portraits and decorative works, gaining fame across Europe, especially in England and Germany. He was prolific throughout Europe, where his sumptuous portraits were much in demand. He initially painted both mythological and religious scenes, but as the panoply of his patrons expanded northward, he began producing many parlor works depicting gods in sensuous languor or games. His style influenced Giuseppe Migoni in London, or during a trip to Paris in 1736, he met the celebrated Castrato Farinelli. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.